Good evening, everyone. It's Saturday. It's a rainy Saturday. I hope you're having a great weekend. Join me tonight as we talk about your favorite stocks in the Philippine Stock Exchange. At the same time, I will introduce two candlestick patterns, and you can see that right on your screen right now. Okay. And for those who have some stocks to review, go ahead and drop a message or drop a comment. I will first talk about three, and that would be the MBT, Pure Gold, and there's another one, and that is from, let me just check who left that comment earlier. Anyway, so let's wait for a few minutes for some joiners. Earlier today, I posted and invited everyone or you guys to share some stocks you'd like us to review. And I already have the first two. I'm just getting the last one. Okay. MBT Pure Gold for the first two stocks. I'll just write it down here. We'll review MBT Pure Gold. And what is that? Ali. Okay, there you go. So those are the first three, but for now, I will talk about the hammer pattern. Okay, so as you can see, let's first talk about the hammer pattern. This is a green candlestick, and it normally appears when a stock is in a downward trend. Okay, so let's focus our attention here. So when the market opened, so it opened right here, right? Because at the start of the day, people are still selling, okay? It even reached to a point where the price reached at the bottom. And that this line here is what we call a wick. That would mean at one point within the day, the price reached this level, okay? But people feel that the price is already very cheap. And that is why when the market ended or when the market closed, it ended up here, okay? That is why this now becomes a green candlestick, because the price ended higher than the opening price. And take note, this appears in a downward trend, and this would mean that we are now bound for a reversal, okay? And on the other hand, the hanging man looks the same. So at the start of the day, when the market opened, people felt that, okay, there's still momentum. It started up here. The price started up here, but people feel that it's really very expensive. So that's why most of the action happened at the bottom, so below the price, and it ended here, okay? So this normally happens in a stock that is in an upward trend. And that would mean people feel that it is already very expensive. No one is already buying this stock. And now this is now bound to reverse in a downward trend, okay? So these two patterns, candlestick patterns, will give you signs of reversal, okay? So let's try to look at some stocks and see if this pattern also makes sense, okay? Let me just change source. Okay. So let's use, because I already have it here, SMPH, okay? So let's try to look at some patterns here that would represent the hanging man and the hammer, okay? So I can already see one right away, okay? This over here is what we call the hanging man, okay? So the price was moving upward, but people felt that it's already very expensive at this point. That's why it reversed, okay? Here's another one. Oops. Sorry. Here's another one. Okay, that one. So it can be green, it can be red, but one thing you need to take note of, this is in an upward trend, okay, and it ended in this pattern. Okay, this is in an upward trend and it ended in this pattern. I mean, in that candlestick. Okay, now let's look at this one. At the bottom, you have here this second candle. That's a hammer. Oops. This one. Okay. This is another hangman. My gosh. Erase. Erase. Just look at this, okay? This is another example of a hangman. Over here. Okay, make sense? Okay, so those are just the two candlesticks that we are going to feature today. And take note, you don't really have to memorize these terms, but it's important that you know the meaning of these candlesticks. And there are a lot more, but tonight we are just going to feature two candlesticks, and that's what we call the hammer and the hangman. Okay? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Cram. Good evening, Rai. Thank you for joining us tonight. And I promised, what's his name? Chris Gonzalez. I hope you're also here tonight. We are going to first review the stocks you requested. Okay, let's look at MBT. Okay. For MBT, let's look at how. Okay, so first let's set up the indicators that we use. We use Bollinger Band and RSI. Okay. Wow. So this is a doji candle. So that's the third term I'm going to introduce right now. It's just one stick like that. So the market is undecided yet whether this is going to bounce back up or it will go down. So our clue is if on Monday this gives us another green candlestick that is above the MA20 line. So this is the MA20 line in a Bollinger Band. You can set the MA or the moving average that you have here. But I am using the MA20 line. So that's the red line at the center. So if on Monday this gives us another green candlestick above the MA20 line, then we're good. You can enter in the stock because that will potentially reverse back up. Okay. Next is pure gold. For pure gold, we are now at. Okay, so we are at. Hopefully, this is going to form a support in this area. There. So let's see if this one sustains in this area, then that is a confirmed support. But if the price opens below in this area, so be extra careful because it might go further down. But in the event it sustains here, then we might see a possible bounce in this area, and hopefully it continues to rally up. Okay, perfect. Now, the next is Ali. For Ali, okay, so it bounced in the area of 49.85 or 87. Okay, so hopefully this already, this gives us a sustained rally upward, but in case if you just want to make sure, you know, just enter near the MA20 line, I mean the support area, which is the 49.69. And if you are in it as a trader, make sure to set your stop loss. From what I know, in the Philippine stock market, there is no automatic stop loss. So if you are in it as a trader, I suggest to really look after the stock you are trading. Otherwise, we might have, selling pressure, and it might go beyond your tolerable loss, and that would really hurt your portfolio. So if you want to enter near 49.69 and set probably 3 to 5% as your stop loss below the support area. Okay, so make sure you enter near a support area. Then let's see. We hope to see a good bounce here. If not, if you're conservative, make sure you wait for the price to reach above the MA20 line, and that way you will see you're safe. Okay, because normally, look at this, when most of the action happens above the MA20 line, so it's always normally it's in an upward trend. Okay, see that? But this one, it triggered the lower Bollinger Band, but right away it was able to recover. It went inside the Bollinger Band, and the last candlestick, it's higher than the previous one. So this one, okay, let's make this bigger. So so high up there. Okay, so this is an engulfing candle because it engulfs the previous day, and the previous day's candle is smaller than the last day's candle. So I'm bullish. At the same time, the fact that this is Ayala land, you are trading or you are investing in a very established company. So nothing to worry. But my take on this is, if you can haggle for a much cheaper price, which is around 49.69, try to do it. Okay. Next, do we have any other request? Good evening, Nick. Welcome to our market insight for Saturday. And Nick wants us to review STI. STI. Oh, STI is also, I'm bullish for STI because first, it has confirmed the support in this area. And again, this is an example of an engulfing candle. So again, when you plot your support, take note, try to be as accurate, but remember it is an area, so it can be 0.71, 0.72, or 0.73. But one takeaway here is that this is another example of an engulfing candle because this is bigger than the previous one, okay? And even if previously it triggered the lower Bollinger Band, but it managed to reverse right away, okay, in just a span of 2 days. Next would be, so Nick, I hope I was able to answer your question. I hope you were able to enter near 0.71. So I would assume, I hope you've already set your profit taking price. Next would be, Okay. Arnold, good evening. CHT or CHP? I would assume that's CHP, right, Arnold? Alkin also wants to review CHP. I'm not sure if there's a CHT. Oh, there's a CHT. Oh, I'm not sure. You're referring to the international market, CHT. Either way, let's just review this. Looks like this is for an international company. It's listed in New York Stock Exchange. But how far is this from MA 20? Let's see. Okay, still near MA 20. But if you have entered in this stock already, I hope you were able to enter near MA 20, but I see that there was like a massive selling on this day. I hope you were not able to enter at this price, because what happened here, just to quickly talk about it. Hold on, let me just erase this. Okay, what happened to this candlestick? It started in this price, 24.05, and the price, of course, played around in this area, and it ended at 23.9. Now, if you entered at this price, 24.05, that is a 4% loss for the day. Okay, so I hope you were not able to enter in this area, but I'm thinking that you might be able to recover it soon, because most of the action is happening above the MA20 line, and it's starting to trigger the upper Bollinger Band. But last Friday, they only had very minimal movement for this stock. So hopefully it sustains. Anyway, I see a much bigger volume than the previous day. Look at this. So this one is higher than this one. So hopefully it sustains the upward trend. Okay. But let's look at CHP. CHP. Okay, CHP now. We're nearing a resistance for CHP around this area. So be mindful and be extra careful, because so this one, if it reaches in this area, okay, so at one point, even last Friday, it reached this price 3.16, but some people took profit, so that's why it ended at a much lower price. Look at this. See, at one point it reached in that area, but it ended at 3.10 or 3.11. So I'm assuming that, yeah, this stock might have a hard time breaking that support. So notice here, it reached the same area once, twice, 1, 2, 3. This one is also considered 4, 5. Okay, but look what happens to your RSI. RSI is giving us a downward direction. Okay. So if you have bought some shares around this area, maybe you can already sell half of it, and when it gives you an opportunity in the next days, wherein you'll see the stock retracing probably in this area, maybe you can use that profit, buy some more shares around this area so that you can accumulate more volume. That way, when this price breaks this resistance, you have more volume. So that would mean bigger profit for us. Okay. What about tech? Mitch Mendoza Let's look at tech for you. Oh my. Oh, heavy decline in the past how many days? Since November. But let us see, because look, I am thinking we're nearing the end of its downtrend because of this. Price goes down, but RSI is giving us an upward direction. And this one is going to give us a cash dividend. Make sure, well, the dividend is just very small, so I don't even want to promote it. But if you want to accumulate some shares, we're nearing the reverse. We're nearing the reversal. Okay, so hopefully this area of support will sustain. Look. So first hint is price is going down, RSI is going up. But on the last 2 days, the price ended at the same spot, almost at the same spot. That would mean it is now forming a support in that area. So you can even start doing a test buy. Just don't put a lot of money on it yet, but just try um, and start accumulating. But my reminder to everyone is make sure you research the company you are engaging in. Okay, make sure they have good financial records, they have promising projects that will potentially grow the business. Okay, but one thing good about this stock is, this is giving dividends, but really, really small dividends. Q1 of 2019, it's negative. But they ended 2018 with 164.58%. Okay, so yep, those are my insights for tech. You're welcome, Chris. And let's look at P-Core for CRAM, P-Core, and JFC. P-Core, oops, let's refresh. That's the downside with Investograms. When you open those tiny circles, you have to click it again to disappear, because if you change from one stock to the other and you don't close it down, it carries over to the next stock. So P-Core. Then I'll just have to set my indicators again. P-Core, it's still, okay, we're nearing that support. So I mentioned this, I think, to you before, around 541, 543 area. So I'm thinking we're almost there. Just be a little patient. Hopefully, once it reaches 543, it does not break 543. Otherwise, if it does, then it might still go down. But I'm starting to become bullish here because of this. Okay, so oops, if it gives us a support in 543 and starts to reverse back up, then that would mean we are now at the end of the downward trend, because this stock has been in a downward trend for quite some time now. So a few more days, Cram. We're almost there, hopefully. But our biggest cue or sign is it should not break 543. It should not go lower than that. Otherwise, it's scary. It might go further down because right at the moment, what I can see is looking at the weekly chart, we have 1, 2, 3. This is a triple bottom around this area. Okay, so just wait and see. Let's hope that this will now be on a reverse. JFC on a daily chart is starting to form a resistance. Okay, but this is what we call an ascending triangle. Okay, it has a resistance in that area. Okay, over here. But if on Monday it gives us a price, or it ends the day above 258, then that is going to be a breakout. It might continue to rally upwards. And this resistance, if it breaks that resistance, that will now become a support. So that would mean it is ready to reverse, because this was on a decline since early January. Most of the action is going downwards, and we also had a strong sell signal, strong selling activity that happened on the 24th and the 25th of July. But this one, I'm bullish. Hopefully this will give us a breakout play on Monday and continue to rally upward. At the same time, okay, just that for now. Hopefully it gives us a price above 258, and that will confirm the breakout. Okay. Ali, for Ali, and that is from Arnold. Arnold. Okay. Ali has formed the support here. It has formed the support here. It engulfed the previous day, so I'm bullish for Ali. Okay. This hopefully continues to go up. Emmanuel, I hope you were able to hear what I talked about JFC. How do you forecast the stocks to be active and top gainers? So it's okay. So how do we forecast a stock? Normally, if there's a news about a certain stock, chances are it is going to be the biggest mover or the most active for the day. And secondly, most of the time, the most active ones are the blue chip companies. Okay, but for the top gainers, you really cannot tell, especially we are in the Philippine stock market. The volume here is really small. In fact, the entire size of the Philippine stock market is just one company in the US. Okay, so if let us say they're like group of friends who have deep pockets, meaning they have a lot of money, and they just they put all their funds in one stock, potentially for the day, it will create a big move. Okay, so that's the downside. It's so easy to, sad to say, sometimes can be manipulated. So what are we what's in it for us, the small time people trading? What's important is you also need to understand how to analyze these charts, because it will give you some signs whether it's about time to enter or it's about time to exit, because we're just riding the wave. The big players who have deep pockets, they're the ones who really can influence the movement of the market, and we're just riding it. Okay, so if you want to be a trader, you have to understand these indicators that I'm using. That you don't have to follow my indicator, but understand it. But if you are an investor, okay, there's a big difference. study the stock you want to engage in, okay? Understand the fundamentals, understand their projects, and their previous performance in terms of financial performance, and hold on to it, okay? Each time you have money, when it dips, add some more, and then add some more each time. So you don't really have to hop from one stock to the other, okay? So if you're an investor, take care of it. Like JFC, for example, you want to be a long-term investor for JFC. Instead of putting your money in the bank, put it there, because you have strong conviction that Jollibee will grow big someday, and each time you have money, just add on. Okay, so there's a big difference in the mindset. So in terms of forecasting, no one can really tell how the market will move in the coming days. Okay, PXP. PXP is, wow, triggering the upper Bollinger Band, and this is from Alkin. PXP is triggering the upper Bollinger Band. Some people will like this kind of setup. This is what we call a momentum trading. But for the newbies, especially, be extra careful with this, because this is already very high, meaning potentially in the next few days this might go on a retracement. Okay, so if you want to be strategic, try to enter near this red line. So for every day as we move forward, this also moves. So if the price goes near MA20, then that could be your entry point. Why am I saying that this is already going to be a bit expensive? You're at the resistance area. Look at this RSI. You're now above the 80 levels, okay? 70 levels. This means that this is already in the overbought. Let's try to see what happens whenever it reaches the overbought area, okay? Here's another one. Overbought area. What happens next? Ooh. Each time it reaches the overbought area, it declines. Okay, let's look for another hit here. Overbought around this area, decline. Okay, but no one can really tell if a stock will dramatically decline, or it can potentially just bounce in the MA20. So when you analyze stocks, try to stick to your, try to master a setup or some indicators and then play around with it. Okay, so what I'm using now is the RSI. This is RSI and this is Bollinger Band. I combine the two and make my analysis from there. Okay, so Alkin for PXP, very promising stock. It's showing an aggressive upward trend here. But if you're a newbie and you'd like to trade this stock, try to haggle for a much cheaper price. Try to get in near MA20 as much as possible. Okay, but I have a feeling it might retrace only up to this level here. It might, okay, might, because no one can really predict the market around that area, because this has been the resistance in the past few days. It reached these areas. So again, in an upward trend, a resistance will eventually become a support. So potentially that will be your bounce area, 9.24. Okay. VUL. Oops. VUL. Okay. VUL is starting to give us a support in this area. Let's make sure, let's hope that the price does not open below that area on Monday and below that area. Otherwise, this will continue to go on a downward trend. But if it gives us a price above 1.22 and ends above it, then that is a confirmation of a support, and it will now be reversing upward. Okay, that's for VUL. Where are we now? And that's for Alkin. Emmanuel, MPI. MPI is doing a sideways movement, and they have a scheduled dividend on August 14. So for those who would like to avail the dividend, so normally people will accumulate around this area as early as now, because as we go near the X date, normally the price will go up, and on the X date, which is August 14, normally price will go down because people will exit on the X date. Okay, because even if they exit on the X date, the system has already recognized that they're part of the list who will receive the dividend. So on these days, this is the accumulation stage or accumulation date. That's why it is giving us a sideways movement. So I think this will still continue to give us the same movement in the coming days. And as we go near August 14, it will eventually go up. Now, if let's say you were able to buy some shares today, some people, they just want to make sure that they lock in their profit. So they would normally exit the day before August 14 because they know that they cannot watch the market on the 14th. And they also know that it will eventually dip on the 14th. So they might just end up losing, okay, if they're not able to watch the market during the X date. So that some people will have that strategy. But my assessment is that in the coming days, it will still continue to do sideways. And as we go near August 14, it might continue to go up. Okay. For MRC went back to 0.32. Okay. Oops. MRC, hopefully this will give us a support at this level, okay? Because it stopped at this area, and there's 1, 2, actually 3 or 4 candlesticks that landed on the same area. So hopefully this stock stops at this area, okay? If not, the next area of support is going to be here because of these candlesticks. It ended almost on the same area. So 0.30, hopefully by the time it reaches that price, we are already in the oversold, meaning people think that this is already very cheap. No one will be selling anymore. That's why it's in an oversold area. But hopefully this price gives us a good bounce on Monday, then that will confirm a support in this area. Otherwise, the next area of support will be here. Okay. I hope you didn't buy around this area, because what that would mean, you are already negative by 15.97%. Next. Oops. Where did I stop? Oh my gosh. I can't scroll up anymore. Tech Tugs by Jason. Sorry, I can't scroll up anymore. Just add the message again. Okay, Jason, this is for you. Wow, this is another stock that is already in the oversold area, but it has been on a decline for several months. Okay, let us see. Okay, move tools. Hopefully this line sustains. This is making an area of support, but hopefully it sustains. Okay, so one, it reached this area. Even if this is just a wick, that's still counted. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we are now in the oversold. Hopefully tomorrow or on Monday it sustains this, and that will potentially confirm a support and then move up eventually. Okay, but we're not yet 100% sure because my RSI is not yet confirming it. Okay, so our clue in RSI is if the price goes down but RSI goes up, then that will potentially confirm that this is really about time to reverse. But you can do test buy if you like because we are already in the oversold. Okay, because sometimes look what happens here. Even if this is already oversold, but it still continued to decline. It only gave us like some small tranches of rally upwards and then goes down again. But overall, it is still not giving me that long-term signs of reversal in the RSI. Look, it's still downward. This to this, it's still on a, there. It's still on a downward direction. So it might still continue to go down, but I'm thinking not that much anymore, hopefully. But if this one gives us another green candlestick, okay, green candlestick on Monday, then that will already be the fourth day that it landed on the same area. So hopefully that will confirm the support. Okay, next. Okay, Javen said STI might retest the MA20. STI. Okay, MA20, it might retest this. So it might act as a resistance, but hopefully when it breaks the MA20, then we're now probably going to be bullish that by that day, because if it breaks MA20, that means it will now create another set of rally upwards. Yep. Thanks as always. Javen is very, very helpful in this page. He gives a lot of good insights and good tips to our friends here in this page. Okay, P-Core. For Christopher Lopez, P-Core, we shared this earlier. We're still in a downward trend, but if it reaches 5.43, let's observe how the action, how the price moves around that area. Hopefully that will confirm the end of its downward trend and then move up. Okay. Next, tech. I think we've already shared tech, BPI, and that is from AJR. BPI, a very stable company, so I'm not really worried. If I am to enter BPI, this is for a long-term stock. So this now created a support in this area, and it's moving upward again. But I'm thinking we will only have a very small move in the upward direction, because we also have a possible resistance around this area. So make sure, if you want to get in near MA20 or get in near this support, and then probably take profit around here if you're trading it. But I suggest for trading, this is not the best timing to trade for this stock, because your possible reward here is just very small. It's 3.84. So if you want, you can wait for it to break out, meaning price starts above 93.19 and ends above it. So that's a breakout. Otherwise, wait for it near MA20 and enter. But if you're in it as a long-term investor, just buy whenever you have the opportunity, whenever you see a dip in this stock, okay? For Julie wants to check MRSGI. Sorry. MRSGI. Okay. So making a small sideways movement. But hopefully, here. So that's a possible area of support. If you want to get in near that area, because it's starting to give us a strong, solid, very redundant. Starting to give us a solid support in that area. And hopefully, because this stock is, I think this is already very cheap. Wait, enter near 2.60 before it goes up. Okay, but I'm bullish for this one. This might just wait for its right timing. This is potentially going to go up really soon. Okay, because of this one too. Straight line movement is in sideways, but RSI is moving up now. Okay. Look, RSI is moving up, but this price is moving sideways. So it might bounce really soon, okay? Dan would like to check HLCM. HLCM. Wow. So let's just be extra careful, because this thing somehow broke the MA20. So it ended below MA20 line, so it might dip for a bit. Okay. So I hope you have not bought this stock at the high price. Otherwise, wait for it to stabilize, because I'm seeing the nearest possible area of support is around here. Okay, let's move it a little bit upward. Horizontal line around here. There you go. That's a possible area of bounce. Otherwise, wait for it in the oversold area when it reaches around here. When the price reaches around this area, okay, that becomes an oversold. We already talked about Ali, SMPH. What about FLI from DSay, UMPAD, FLI and MEG? Okay, FLI. FLI ended below MA20, but hopefully, so this is a possible hammer. Hopefully, it gives us a support in this area and continue its upward trend. Okay. If this breaks the 1.88, that would mean this stock is going to decline. Okay, so our condition here is that this stock must start or must have a price above 1.90 and end above 1.90 as well to confirm its bounce upward. But if it starts below 1.88 and ends below 1.88, then potentially this will continue to retrace, or we are going to experience some correction. Okay, so when you hear those terms, retrace, correction, downward, bearish, that would mean the price is going down. Those are the terms that they use. MEG. MEG has bounced in this area. Okay, so hopefully this will continue its uptrend, but this is it is trying to test the MA20 line. This is the MA20. Okay, so our condition is this price must open above the MA20 line, okay, and end above it. So that would mean it's still going to continue to rally upwards. Otherwise, because an MA20 can also be an area of resistance, it's like a ceiling. So those are our conditions. Okay, hopefully it opens above it to confirm that it will now continue its uptrend. ABA from Mark Briones. ABA is, hopefully this is going to sustain. We are near a support area. If you want to do a test buy, you can, but we don't have that much volume yet. So just wait and see. Hopefully it gives us more action above 1.93, then it might potentially confirm the bounce. Otherwise, it might go further down. Okay. Next is, okay, that's for ABA. Thank you guys for supporting our live. It's nice to talk when you have people watching you, right? WPX for Boyax. WPX. Okay, so it looks like it bounced in this area for WPX. Okay. So hopefully it opens above 15.73. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good sign. Okay. So our condition is should open above 15.73. And most action should happen above MA20 line. Otherwise, it might potentially break its support and continue to go downtrend. The next area of support in case is going to be here. Yeah. ISM, hopefully it's starting to give us an upward trend. Let me just zoom in. Okay. My take on ISM is just accumulate shares in ISM, because eventually when they start to accept subscribers for our third telco, ISM is associated with the third telco because Dennis Uy or the Udena Corporation did a backdoor here. So technically, this is already owned by the Udena. And Udena is a part owner of the third telco. They had a partnership with Miss Latel and China Telecom, I think. So hopefully when they start to accept subscribers, then this stock is going to go up. Okay, we're not expecting that it will reach 1,000 pesos per share like what PLDT has, but right now if we are at around 531 and eventually this reach, let's say 20 pesos or 30 pesos, that's already a good gain, right? So start to accumulate around this area if you want to be you want to haggle for a much cheaper price. I'm not sure if it can even reach this price, 4.51. So I'm plotting it here because I see two candlesticks landing on the same area. So that will potentially be the next support. But it's also accumulating around this area. Okay, and we only have small movements. So I'm sure people are already accumulating. No one is already willing to sell their position because they feel that this is already very cheap. Okay, so I'm thinking we're bound to reverse once again, give us a good rally like these days in the past, from technically May to July. Most of the actions are happening above the MA20. Okay, let's check the MACD. I also sometimes use MACD. Okay, for MACD, when the price from the blue line crosses over the red line, that would mean this is now going to go on an upward trend. Okay, see what happens here. Price crosses over the blue line, crosses over the red line. It went on an upward trend right after that. Okay, let's look at some more. Okay, here another example for MACD. This is another indicator, guys. When I started trading, I also started with MACD. Price, the blue line crosses over the red line around this area. Okay, small movements first and then eventually moves up. Okay, so that will confirm your uptrend when the blue line crosses over the red line. So to check the specifics, I just use the default. Okay. Next, Vita from Nick. Vita. Let's check out Vita. Okay, you're nearing, for Vita, you are nearing the resistance area. Okay, look. So be extra careful because Vita, normally Vita does not give us really big moves in terms of upward trend, only for a short period of time. But just be extra careful whenever the price reaches around this area because this area is technically an area where you should be taking profit, not the area where you will buy. Okay, so if you want to get in, let's say for example this continues to rally upwards, try to get in near the MA20 line. Okay, MA20 here around this area. So let's say this will continue to move up, it might go retrace around 1.31. Okay, just wait for it to retrace before you enter, because that area right now is you're nearing the resistance area where you should be taking profit. Okay, we talked about BPI, Larry, Alicarp for PXP, for PAL. Okay, PAL. PAL is doing some sideways movement. Very small movement per candlestick for PAL. Okay, and it's triggering the lower Bollinger Band. So I'm thinking it might still go down. Okay, it might still go down. Let's look at the weekly chart for PAL. So it might continue to go down. Okay, I hope you were not able to buy this stock at a high price. So it made a dramatic move for just a day on, when was this? January? Last January, week of January 21st. But it might go down here again. We're looking at the weekly chart, by the way, guys. It can potentially reach as low as 7.65. So if you're in it as a long term, okay, for long term investors, I'm sure PAL is a good company. It won't go bankrupt anytime soon, but it's just that this price action is giving us some selling, okay, some selling pressure. Probably people are taking profit because they had a good gain here, because at one point it reached really, really high, and then they took profit, and it's going back here near the support. So if you want to enter PAL, wait near 7.65, which is an area of bounce, because that's a support area. Okay. You're welcome, Alikar. We'll try our best to be consistent at this. It's just that yesterday we had a strat plan with my colleagues in our office, so we were not able to go live, but I will try my best to be consistent at this. So we'll be doing live every evening from Mondays to Fridays around 9:30. But I'll definitely drop a message each day, like a few hours before our live, just to remind everyone. Okay, but definitely I will try my best to be consistent at this, because slowly people are becoming interested in the stock market, and yeah, let's do what the rich people are doing. Hopefully we can be one of them someday, right? Wilcon for Carlo. Carlo. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Carlo. Okay. So I'm starting to introduce MACD, because MACD is also a good indicator. Okay, it gave us a good bounce, okay, for Wilcon around this area. So it stopped once, twice. It started the price last Friday at 1548. It engulfed the previous day. So this is an engulfing candle. Okay, this is higher than the previous day, and it's also green. So hopefully this will now become the support and move up eventually in the coming days. We're not saying, guys, when we say it'll go up, it will go up the next day, okay? Sometimes hang it stays there for several days, okay? It consolidates around this area before it goes up. Because normally, uh, a stock moves when it declines first and then consolidate in the same area at the bottom and then before it goes up. Okay, in the same manner that when it goes up, once it reach the peak, sometimes it stays there for a few days before it goes down. Okay, so this might stay here for a few days before it decides to go up. But one rule is it should not break the area of support. Otherwise, that would mean the sellers dominated, they won the tug of war, and they'll continue to sell. The selling pressure will continue. Okay. But I'm positive with Wilcon. They have good revenue for Q1. Same with the entire year, annual income for 2018. So talking about fundamental analysis, Wilcon is a strong company in terms of financial condition. In terms of its financial condition, it's healthy. Okay, so if you want to try it out at 15.48 if you like. So that's it, Carlo. For Mark, MARC. Same with Mark, we're about to see a reversal here. So we talked about a hammer and the hanging man today. So this is, oh, sorry, I didn't see the wick here. I thought this is just, okay, I didn't see this wick. But, so it ended outside the Bollinger Band, but it quickly recovered up here. So this will now be potentially moving upward, and the next possible resistance is, of course, your MA20 line. Okay, when the price movement happens at the bottom of MA20, when it goes up, it will test the MA20. The MA20 line will act as your resistance. Now, if it breaks that, then of course that will continue to confirm the upward trend. But in the coming days, expect that this will potentially go slowly moving upward with MA20 as your next possible resistance. IRC. Okay. Oh, IRC, you see that blue line? The blue is about to go across the red line. So looks like we're not yet done with the downward trend for IRC here. It might continue to go downwards. See what happens here in this area, around this area. Okay, observe the price action around that area. Hopefully it bounces around that area. Okay, but this I'm thinking it'll wait for the next news about the subway, because this company is in charge of building the subway in Makati, connecting to BGC and some other areas in Manila. Okay. Green. Doing some sideways movement here. Okay. Let's see for green. want for green, because it might still go down, check what happens around this area, 2.11. Yep. So 1, and then look at this area, stopping almost at the same spot. So let's check if it creates another support in 2.11, then you can do a test buy here. If not, it might continue to go down. If it creates a support in the next few days around this area, then we are potentially going to have a bounce, and then it will move up. Okay. Hi, Maria. FA, did I talk about FA? PHA? Still going down. But you are here near the support. So let's check out what's... Okay. 1, 2, 3. So our goal is for this stock, the next day, it should engulf the previous two candlesticks. Okay, so if this ends around this area, let's say 0.73 or 0.74, the next candlestick should end around that, okay, 0.73 and above. If it still ends below that, then we're not sure, it might still continue to go down. Okay, so your cue here is that the price should start above. Okay, price should start above 7.71 and end around 0.74 or higher. Then that will confirm the reversal. Okay, if not, if it ends lower than that, I'm still not very confident that this will be reversing. Okay, so those are my conditions if I am to trade this. Okay, so I will still wait for one more day, and it should give us those, it should meet those conditions. Price to end at 0.74 on Monday. Okay, and then if it does, then I can already enter. I talked about FLEI. NIKL. NIKL. Oh, it bounced. Okay. It formed the support here and it bounced. So looks like we will continue to rally upwards for NIKL. Okay. So guys, right now I'm just looking at it at its face value, meaning I'm looking at it depending on what the chart is showing us. But do your assignment. Check out PSE Edge. Okay, that's where you see all the news about a certain company or all their financial reports. You will see everything in PSE Edge. Okay, so you have a support around 2.49 and it bounced at that area. So I'm thinking it will continue to rally upwards. But if you get to, if the market gives you a chance on Monday to get in near 2.49, please do so. Okay. So this setup is already good for nickel. SCC. Okay. Hopefully this sustains. Okay, this area of support sustains, then moves up in the coming days. Okay, that's the support that I see. CPG, Paul already talked about it. AP, let's check AP. Okay. I think it for AP, if if the price gives you an opportunity around 34.13, okay, because although it's starting to create that support, like a minor support here, it's giving us a minor support in this area, okay? So the condition is it starts around that area on Monday and ends around that area as well, higher than the Friday's candlestick, then you should be good. So the condition is it starts above it and it should end within the Bollinger Band, okay? Then that would mean we're already about to reverse. If it goes below this price, your next possible area of support is around 34.13. That is where you can potentially buy if you have not entered in this stock yet. Okay, so observe tomorrow on Monday, the price should happen around this area. Then that would mean we're now reversing. But if it goes lower than that, the next area you need to observe is 34.13. Okay, last, before we say goodnight to one another, okay? IRC, we're done with that. DFNN. DFNN. DFNN will still potentially go further downwards. It will start a downward trend, okay? So stay away from DFNN. I hope you didn't buy at this area. Okay. This might continue to go down. Okay, so hi Ella. Okay, so that is it for tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I will try to answer some of your stocks offline. Okay, I'll just post probably some screenshots and my interpretation. Otherwise, most of these stocks have already been discussed in the earlier segment. So just go ahead and feel free to replay this video because I'm sure I've already covered CHP, ABA, PCOR. I already talked about that. For GSMI, I'll try to, I can't remember if I talked about this. AGI, I can't remember as well, but I'll try to answer them offline, okay? Thank you, guys. This really makes me feel good seeing all of you joining me tonight. I'll make sure to be consistent at this. See you on Monday around 9:30 or 9. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll drop a message on our page to confirm our live on Monday. Thank you. Good night. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.